BYOB Market Talks. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tasha M. Dyer, the Trade Whisperer, and I'm excited to have you guys. You guys have had a very profitable week. And so as promised, we are going to do session two. Session two, we're going to talk about this triple effect for the BYOB cash out. So I'm really excited. I want to make sure we have a little bit more clarity, understanding how and why you are definitely taking your trades, you know, what you're looking at and how to utilize the tools. So if you are here tonight and you did not have the opportunity to watch Tuesday's call, you definitely want to go back and do so, because we definitely talked about the bringing everything back to the vibrato bringing it back to the vibrato. That's what we talked about, using the bounce back, using the harmonics, and of course how to look at the trades from the how to look at the trades that come through the vibrato. Now we're going to dig just a little bit deeper tonight. So, but first, your mindset has to be right. Okay, your mindset has to be right. And as I stated, this is session two, part two of that same training. We discussed that this morning. You guys have been in some significant profit, but like I said, we are definitely gonna get just a little bit deeper. Okay, just to really help you understand, because I really want you guys to maximize those tools so you can be in profit, right? That's what we're here for. Now, as we do that, so what are my affirmations, right? Mindset. I cannot stress to you enough how important your mindset is. So it is definitely, I am a master trader. I am the signal on my trades in profit. I am 777. I am a master trader. I am the signal, all my trades in profit. I am 777. See, we're not saying I'm going to be, we're not saying I think I will be, it's I am. We're going to walk in that energy now. We're going to walk in that I am that I know that I am, right? We're going to walk in that we have to manifest that now. And of course, that I am 777 for those of you all who are new, because I know I see some new names on here, and we got quite a few 111s this week. So I want you to go on the YouTube channel and watch that I am 777 with Dr. Craig Bythewood. Now, you don't, after this call, you want to stay on this call and you will understand just how significant and how important what he brings. He got his PhD in finance and economics. So you definitely want to make sure that you stay on this call and definitely hear what he has to say. And the playlist was just dropped in the chat. It was just dropped in the chat. So you want to do that. And of course, if you want to add to your affirmations, please do, but just make sure you walk in those affirmations. It's so important. So what I'm going to do is, first and foremost, I'm going to share my screen with you. That's where we're going to start. I am going to share my screen with you. And as I share my screen with you, hold on, let me make sure I got this right. So as I share my screen with you, let me ask you, for those of you all who are joining us this evening, if this is your first time on BYOB Market Talks, this is your first time here with us this evening, then let me get a 111 in the chat. Your first time with us this evening, let me get a 111 in the chat. 111 in the chat. If some people already know what to do. Let me get a 111 in the chat. And now if you are still learning how to cash out, let me get a 222. So welcome, 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 and welcome back. Got a few of you all with some 111. So let me welcome each and every last one of you all, right? Let me welcome each and every last one of you guys to the call. So where we want to start, of course, is with the BYOB cash out. Definitely want you all to understand what the BYOB cash out is. And then, of course, we're going to dive into those tools to help you really understand how you bring that back, to help you understand how to maximize those tools and what to do with those tools, right? So that's definitely something that we want to do, okay? Now, as we do that, now what I'm looking at is a currency pair, right? Doesn't matter for me to help explain this to you. So this just happens to be Euro NZD. And then of course, we're looking on a 15-minute chart. Now, with the strategy BYOB cash out, understand that this is a stochastic. Now, the movement itself is BYOB. I know you always dropping BYOB. The movement is Be Your Own Bank, right? The largest economic empowerment movement in the history of mankind. I'm so excited about what we're doing, changing lives globally. And the strategy itself is BYOB cash out, right? We're cashing out significantly. You guys have been in some significant profit, and I'm really, really excited about that. Now, but I want you to understand the strategy. So here we go. We start with the stochastic, okay? We start with the stochastic. Now that stochastic, you see down here, is gonna run from 0 to 80, okay? It is going to run from 0 to 80. So as it runs from 0 to, it runs from 0 to 100. Let me be clear, 0 to 100. You're focused on this 20 to 80, okay? I'm focused on this 20 to 80. Now, with that focus from 20 to 80, you know, that's one of the indicators that I'm looking for is my stochastic. The other indicator that we're using is my Hikanashi candles. So if I go ahead and I change this over to Japanese candles, just so you can understand the difference, this is what Japanese candles look like. This is what is on your phone. This is what your MetaTrader 4 sees. We are using Hikanashi candles, okay? And I really want you to understand that this is Hikanashi candles. So this is different, okay? So these are trend candles, right? These are trend candles. Then of course I have my PSAR. My PSAR is my trailing stop loss, okay? That is what this is. My PSAR is my trailing stop loss. Now, with that, these two indicators here are lagging. This one is leading, okay? This is a leading indicator. These two are lagging indicators, okay? So the first thing I'm looking at is my stochastic, okay? And when you look at your stochastic, that crossover and cross up is important. This crossover and cross up is important. Now, when I do that, okay, I want you to come here and you're looking at this green candle with a flat bottom, okay? Green candle with a flat bottom. Once you identify that, I'm looking for a buy. Now I'm looking at this green candle with a flat bottom and my PSAR needs to be to the bottom, okay? Now, the stop loss, right? My stop loss literally goes to the bottom. My stop loss goes to the bottom of my underneath my PSAR. That's where my stop loss would go. Not on the PSAR, below the PSAR. My PSAR identifies that reversal that should take place, that reversal that happens in the market. Now, when I do this and I know that I'm in alignment, however, understand, hear me clearly, the higher time frames tell you what the market is doing. The higher time frames tell you what the market is doing, not the lower time frames. So the higher time frames, not the lower time frames. So when you jump up to the hour, okay, actually, let me go down to the 5 minute first. You want to check the 5 minute first. You drop down and check the 5 minute first, and it needs to be buying, okay? It needs to be buying. Now, for my Confluence, I need to check the hour. The hour needs to look like something I will put on a watch list. First thing first, I'm always looking at my candle. It is red. This is a no-go. Cannot do this. It's in a sell, okay? My swing of the market is currently in a sell. So if my swing of the market is in a sell, I'm not taking a trade at that moment. Now, you notice that it was at, look at the time down at the bottom, right? My time is gonna go away if I try to point it out to you. So you gotta kind of look at that crosshair, look at the bottom. It says 23:45. The 23 is really not that important. So don't get too caught up on the UTC time. I'm looking at the minutes. Those minutes tell me that I got 15 minutes till I get another hour candle, okay? 15 minutes till I get another hour candle. So I know I just gotta wait about 15 minutes. And if I wait about 15 minutes, I know this is where I would actually be, okay? 15 minutes and I'd be here. Now, we have had some other calls where we looked at the swing of the market first, right? We looked at my Confluence first. I'm not gonna go that deep into that tonight because I wanna make sure we have enough time to get into the training that I wanna talk about tonight. But I want you to understand, and if you have questions, we'll address it next week or we'll address it on some other calls that you can, or go look at something on that playlist but you can look at the swing of the market first. You can definitely do that. This is where that understanding comes in and not memorization. But this is where my swing of the market is. When I look on my 15-minute, right? When I'm on my 15-minute, then, so when I look at my 15-minute, then I'm literally looking right here, and you can actually see that I'm in that buy, right? So you can actually see right here that it's up for a buy. So this is where we are for a buy. Now that's a valid buy. At this point, you can grab your 10 pips and cash out, or you can trade to that next support resistance line. In this case, it is that, you know, it's that resistance line, right? So you can actually trade it up to there. So, and of course, before you jumped in a trade, you needed to, of course, drop down and check the 5-minute. So, which we checked the 5-minute. So that in itself, in its simplicity, is the BYOB cash out with time frame confluence, okay? That is the BYOB cash out with time frame confluence. So now, why do we go over that first? You got to understand the strategy. Now, does it matter what time frame I'm on? Absolutely not. We start teaching off the 15. You're actually going to be able to look at, like, of course, if we're trading off the hour, and if I want to trade on the 4-hour, right, that would not have been confluent. Like if I was trading off the hour, then I check my confluence on the 4-hour, because you're going to see in a little while where that matters, right? You're going to see, of course, how that matters. So this is important. It's important. It's important. It's important. It's important. So let's jump into tonight's. The first thing I want to talk about is the harmonics. So, but before we get started, the training from Tuesday, right? The training from Tuesday. Let me get a 555 in the chat if that helped you kind of understand the tools with a little bit more clarity, really understand how to use the tools so you can actually, you know, start actually using them so you can put yourself in profit, right? Because the whole focus is enroll, learn, profit. You enroll into the academy, and haha, I like that Batman style. You know, you enroll into the academy, you learn how to utilize the tools, and you put yourself in a position of profit. I mean, that's literally what transpires and what happens. So, you know, and that's why, even though we have the ability to send signals, we have the ability to do all of that, you're not going to get that from BYOB. You're not going to get that. It's all about empowerment, okay? It's all about empowerment. And so what I want you to understand, the first one, because we use it so much, and I know a lot of people use it, you love it, right? We get a lot of valid, you know, when the setup is there, you know, the trades kind of play out, and I really want to help you understand why, especially when you bring it back here. Now, let me kind of share this with you just a little bit. Now, what the harmonic scanner does is actually, let me do it this way. So if I come into IM Center, right, I'm not logged in. If I come into IM Center, why is this little? Give me a second. All right, so if I come in here, it's like it's stuck. Okay, come to my strategies. And I come down here to my strategies, and I go to my harmonics. Like that's pretty much under my FRX, right? Because you should have access to all these different academies. But when I come to my harmonics, that's going to be like the first one that you pick. It should open up another window for you. And when you open up the other window, this is what you'll typically see, okay? And I'm going to show you what this is, right? I'm going to show you what this is. And you always open this up and you'll see this. And then we're like, okay, this identifies harmonic patterns in the market. And you're like, okay, what's a harmonic pattern, right? So a harmonic pattern is literally just a geometric pattern. So now you're talking about, we got to go back to math class. No. That's the beauty behind the tools, right? We're talking about working smarter and not harder. So what it does is it actually finds like those price patterns, and it's using Fibonacci's, right? It uses Fibonacci numbers. So when we're showing you like you could, let me put this on hour where I always pull from. It really doesn't matter for what I'm talking about, but you know, when you're looking at this and you're finding these, so this is harmonic patterns and these are Fibonacci's, right? Support and resistance lines, that's all it is, okay? And, but where these are take profits, okay? These are take profits. And so it's using Fibonacci numbers, and when they find those fib numbers, it actually uses that as those turning points to where it actually determines and it comes down. So what these numbers are based off of are your Fibonacci retracement levels. So it's still support and resistance lines, but they're really like your Fibonacci retracements. So all you really ever hear me say is, okay, these are support and resistance lines, support and resistance, because that's what they are. But how are they determined with the harmonic pattern is those Fibonacci retracements. So we don't get that deep into it because this isn't a class, right? We're not giving you a class on how to come plot your points, the numbers, you know, get your geometric patterns and all of that other stuff. And then, you know, pulling out your fib tool to get your 23.6, your 38.2, your 61.8, your 78.6, right? Those are Fibonacci, those are your main Fibonacci numbers. So when you pull out your Fibonacci tool, that's where these numbers come from. So yes, that's how it's actually pulled in the market, and that's how these are. And you got different sorts of patterns, right? You got these different patterns that happen and are pulled in the market, and they help identify points. So like they help identify those reversal points. So some of your main patterns, right, that you kind of run into, you know, I'm gonna just kind of show you a few of them. And if you've kind of been through the academy, you kind of see like these are actually in your academy. And so if you watched our getting started video, you know, it'll actually take you from, like, I'll always tell you to start with series, you know, you go through series 1, you know, up to like the series 100, series 200, go to the YouTube channel. But don't forget, you need to come back to the 300 and 400. This is where you get these from. And so you'll start seeing these patterns, like this is that back pattern. And you see it says bullish, right? So you see it says bullish, then this one is bearish. So when you get to that point, it'll normally turn around. When you get to this point, it'll normally turn around and go bullish, right? So it's just a back pattern that forms in the market, and ta-da, it looks like a back. That's why it's named, you know? And then of course, when I come here, I get a butterfly pattern in the market. Change my share. Now, you got a butterfly pattern in the market, right? And so you kind of looking at this one and you see it kind of looks a little bit different. So they got different geometric patterns that's associated with it. And so that's really how you determine that pattern that actually happens in the market. But once again, you get that bullish and then it'll go up, and then you get that bearish and it'll come down, okay? So that's that. And then, let me see, you get this one, which is your Gartley. Now, when you're looking at this one, you see, of course, you got another one, and you see, where is this one? FRX 420 right there in your academy. So if I'm looking, I love it. Are we gonna get some more homework? So I'm just trying to show you how valuable what you have is and how to use it, right? I just really, you know, but the homework will help you. It did help you because I've been seeing your 777s. So, and then, so what you get is when you look at this, right, and you see it, and you can just kind of see the different shape of the pattern. But of course, when you get there, this is where you're looking at, and you can kind of see where it turns up and it goes into that buy, right? And then of course, I'm gonna just show you one more because I know you guys love this one so much. So you say, yes, it really helped you. And you're saying, please. So you got that. I love that. I love that you guys love learning. I love that. And so then you always ask about that shark pattern, right? Why do we have 2 entry points, okay? Because you'll notice that the shark actually has 2 entry points. Well, it has everything to do with this geometric pattern, right? And where the fibs fall. So you notice that it kind of falls in between here because you kind of see where the X started and then where the D falls, right? So where it kind of falls when it pulls from it's all about the pattern that it's making with the Fibonacci. And so it's kind of like a range where you can kind of see where this is, where you actually have, this is why you have 2 entry points. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to reach up to here. That doesn't mean it's going to reach here, but this is why we have the BYOB cash out, because we can actually take it back there and it'll determine our entry point. But if you notice that if you're looking at this, it'll turn around and you see it pull back down. But when did we actually enter the market? It was around this 100% on here. So this is where that is. So now you're talking about time frame Confluence. I'm not on there right now. If we have time to go back to that, I will. I want to definitely focus on this evening. If we have time to go back to that, I will toward the end of the call. But on that playlist, the very first 2 videos, they're like 6 minutes apiece. So if you go to the very first 2 videos in trading the BYOB cash out, the first one is the strategy itself. The second one is time frame Confluence. So that will help. That will definitely help as well. So, and if you look at this, but we'll get to that if I have time toward the end of this call. So if you look at this right here, and you can kind of see where this will pull down. So this is why this pattern typically has those 2 entries, right? So you're like, why do we have 2 entries on that? And so then when I come back to, right, let me find it. So when I come back to here, okay, when I get back to my scanner, right? So this does the heavy lifting for you. But this, I don't want you to take this at face value. So look, well, ta-da, that shark pattern. And what are you seeing? You're seeing 2 entry points on that shark pattern right here. So you got 2 entry points. That does, so, but you don't have to sit there and guess at what your entry point should be, right? Because it never actually went up to this one. And if I come look at this one, okay, you can kind of see this. Oh, we didn't even cover this one, but it really doesn't matter because you got different types of patterns that happen in the market. I just gave you an example of a few. Right, that's basically what I was trying to point out. So you kind of see where you got your shark pattern, right? Where you see all the time when you got a shark pattern, you have 2 entry points. When I'm looking at my back pattern, you can see where once again it looks like that back. And just, you know, look at the Gartley, right? When you see that one, it's one way over here. When you see that, because it's already played out, it kind of looks like, I mean, you can kind of see where those patterns are, but you don't have to go figure it out is the point I'm making. But I know we had a lot of questions on understanding the tools. So understanding exactly what this does in the market, understanding how it helps you and what it does. So then once you do that, right, once you come here and identify it, all you have to do is bring it back to here and you line it up. So, right, so you bring it back to here. Now, CAD JPY, for example. Now, oh, this is also what I wanted to kind of point out and make sure you guys understand. So when you pull this down here, okay, the ones that are down here at the bottom, they already played out. Like, look at this. It's already took profit all the way to take profit 3. And it's on its way back to do something else. So these will eventually fall off. So the ones that you find at the bottom have already played out. Like they've already played out. So the ones at the bottom have already played out. Now, this is another example of why you see me adjust my lines. I will adjust them using a line pattern, a line chart, right? You always see me use the line chart. So when we get back, right, when I'm drawing my support and resistance lines, just to kind of give you an example, and of course we'll pull one, that's not a problem. But when we're drawing that, and you see, I'll draw the line chart. The line chart is closing price. So even if I was looking at, you know, you're looking at this, that's regular Japanese candles. I come back over here, and this is not the same currency, by the way, but maybe I should put Euro JPY. So if I'm looking at this, what the line chart will give you is that closing price. So you're not dealing with all those wicks. So even on the Hikinashi candle, I have wicks, okay? I have wicks. On the Japanese candles that is showing you over there, you have wicks. What the line chart does and what the line chart gives you, the line chart actually gives you the closing price. So that helps you better identify your take profit and where you actually want to place it. So I always change to the line chart and actually adjust my take profit. That's what I do. So yes, these aren't just support and resistance lines, and they're just determined by these support and resistance lines is the computer, and it scans the market. It scans the market, and when it finds these harmonic patterns in the market, right? It finds those harmonic patterns in the market, and it does it based off the fibs from that. So it's computer generated, right? It's just computer generated, and so that does not mean it's going to play out, because it will call some up here. You'll get some up here. And if you have ever done this or you've been trading it for a while, you will find that I've been looking at one and then I come back and it's not there anymore. It's because it did not play out. If it does not play out, it will not stay on here. Okay. And why is that? You know how many harmonic patterns get identified in the market? There's not enough space for that. You want to be able to track your trades and to be able to monitor the ones that are playing out. So like if we go about halfway down, we got a trade, like let's say you were in GBP NZD, right? You want to be able to know that it's hit take profit one and it's still, the harmonic pattern is still valid, or the harmonic pattern is still flowing and it's still moving down to take profit 3. So that's just a good indicator, right? Of course we're gonna look back over here, but that's just like a really good indicator that it's still playing out, okay? And because it didn't fall off. And of course it'll stay on here until it falls off after it's played out, till it gets pushed off of the chart. So before we go any further, because I'm gonna show you for my 111s to put it on a chart to actually show you how to actually take the trade. Any questions on that? Anything that we just talked about? Drop it in the chat if you got a question, because I'm gonna actually. Absolutely, it's recorded. Absolutely. That's a valid question. There's a lot of shark patterns out there today. I was trying to see if I did one without all those take profits. I want to show you a simple one. Now, how you end up being late? No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. This is the one we just pulled, right? Ah, see. Okay, you were mad you couldn't find it after. Okay, you were wondering what happened. You went back on there and was looking for your trade and you couldn't find it, right? So that's good. So I'm glad. See, once you know how to, this is not a standalone tool. So understand this is not a standalone tool. That you definitely want to understand. You went back to see what went wrong with your trade and was wondering why it was gone. Absolutely. This is not a standalone tool. This is definitely not a standalone tool. The only thing this does is identify harmonic patterns in the market. So this just identifies harmonic patterns in the market. So keep plugging in. Keep plugging in. Keep plugging in. Keep plugging in. Go through the academy and keep plugging in. I promise you it is going to make sense. I can guarantee you it is going to make sense. I promise you. And I'm on the wrong one.
Ms. Dyer.
Yes.
Could you kind of do a little bit, can you expound a little bit more to make sure everyone is clear on the understanding that this is not a standalone tool and the importance of how many people would see those entry and exit points as if that's something that's a signal. Can you expound on that a little bit more for us, please?
Oh, absolutely. As I set this up, that's exactly what I am doing. So let me get this set up and we definitely can. Because I'm putting those points on here, but absolutely. Most definitely. Absolutely. And just and what I could, as I'm doing this, and because I'm definitely gonna address what Mr. Rogers just said, but as I'm doing this, for those of you all, like the question that just came in the chat about it, this being Greek to me, right? Or, you know, the reason why you want to walk in those affirmations, the reason why you want to walk in those affirmations, you want to walk in those affirmations, right? You want to walk in your affirmations because this is not difficult. It's just different, okay? It's just something that you've never done before, right? It's just something that you've never seen before. It's just something that you've never experienced before. It's been hidden in plain sight. And because it's been hidden in plain sight, right? Because of that, you have to have a clear mindset. If my 5-year-old daughter can walk you through this, that tells you that there's no blockage, because children approach things with a eager and clear mindset. And so the only time that you have a resistance in you because you have never been exposed to it. And so that's why you have to release that, you have to let it go, and you have to open your mind. And that's why we do those affirmations and everything before you even see my screen. Because you have to, your mind has to be clear. As Dr. Baitul would say, you got to relax your shoulders and, you know, stretch, you know, relax yourself and open your mind as the mind of a child, because you got so much life experience that you can block your own self from what is right in front of you. So you have to like truly clear your mind. And it, like he said the other night, exactly, breathe. And this will truly clear your mind. And this stuff will light up and it will be so clear to you that you will be like, oh my gosh. So I'm just telling you. Now, as what we were saying, this is definitely not a standalone tool, okay? This is not, the harmonic scanner is not a standalone tool. The testimony just came in the chat and I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna read it. And so it said, glad you said something about the harmonic scanner. I've lost a few times and I was mad that I couldn't find it after. Right, I went back to see what went wrong and was wondering why it was gone. So you want to understand that this is not a standalone tool. Do not blindly take a trade from here. You never want to blindly take a trade, okay? And the beautiful thing, and the one thing to understand is a strategy, right, has to be able to, that a strategy has to be able to work on multiple, you know, it has to be able to work with multiple things. And I'm showing you triple effect right now, and it works with everything. And so you bring this back. So we bring this back to where the BYOB cash out is housed, right back to the vibrato. So back to the vibrato. No, you can look on any time frame, right? You can look on any time frame. I personally like to look on the hour because of those reversal patterns. You can find the harmonics in the smaller time frames, but just like when I draw my support and resistance lines on a higher time frame, you have those smaller dynamic with support and resistance lines that happen, but they don't always stop the trade if you think about it, right? So if I come down here, and that's a good question, but if I come down here, you'll see support, like you'll see little support and resistance lines in between there when you drop down, and you'll catch the little ones in between there, but they might pause the market for a minute, but they don't always stop it, right? So you'll always mark mine up on a higher time frame, then drop down, and of course I pay attention to the other ones, but so when I look at my harmonic patterns on the smaller ones, are they always going to reverse the market? Are they strong enough to reverse the market? So what's really happening on a higher time frame is what the market is doing, right? Always remember the higher time frame is what the market is doing. So if the market is going to reverse, it's important to see what's happening on a higher time frame. A harmonic pattern on a smaller time frame might just be a correction. It might just be a correction that's happening in the market. So I'm always looking on a higher time frame. That's my personal preference. You might look at the other one, but you need to understand, if you're on that 15-minute, where it can fall. It might be a reversal pattern. It might be a correction. It might be with the trend, and it be a really good trade. You know, all of them are good trades, but you trade with the trend is your friend. So you have to understand you're with a correction, or you calling a reversal pattern. So you really, really, really got to understand that. So now, so let me see. So when we're looking at this, right? Do not trade this. And I'm gonna say it again. Do not go to the harmonic scanner and just enter the trade. Even if you look right here, it never got to that entry point, guys. It never got to that entry point. It never even touched that entry point. So from right here, because it wasn't called back here, and it just tipped it. It never touched that entry point up here. That's a PSAR that's up there. It never touched it. And so if I'm looking at this, you don't just take that blindly, is what I'm trying to get you to understand. You got to bring it back over here. And so when it comes over here, let's look what happens with the BYOB cash out. Same thing. I got my blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum, right? Blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum. And then I got my red candle with a flat top and my PSAR. PSAR flipped first this time. These two are lagging, so it really don't matter. Then I check my 4 hour. My 4 hour right here. Ta-da! Look at my 4 hour right here. My 4 hour is in a sell. My 4 hour. Now, when I say something you put on your watch list, right? What is my, I don't want you getting too caught up on the stochastic right here, but what is it doing? Because if my stochastic was down here, it would still be okay. But what is my 4 hour stochastic doing? My 4 hour stochastic is selling, right? It's selling. So when I'm telling you to pay attention down here to a certain extent, if it was like right here where it was buying and going up, would I want to take that trade? We actually saw one on the call this morning, and it was like, okay. So the BYOB cash out with time frame confluence is really, really, really going to help you know when to enter that trade. And then if I drop down to my 15-minute chart, right, tighter entry, but it also, I don't have pullback. I can enter my trade. And if you would have took that to your take profit one, right? If you would have took that to your take profit one, that was 76 pips right there. From that point, it was 76 pips right there. And when you say the PSAR is moving, it says trailing stop loss. You can definitely trail your stop loss. If I'm trailing my stop loss, okay, like let's say if I'm doing it manually, when I hit take profit one, then I'm definitely, you know, you move your stop loss. Of course, this is where we enter, but now I'm in a risk-free trade. And if I'm hit take profit two, then I'm gonna move it up a little. I'm gonna cushion it because you never put it on it. I'm doing manually, but I'm always outside of my PSAR. And now if I'm trailing it, right, then my trailing stop loss, I'll jump up. This is all personal preference. Now you just don't do it. Don't say, oh, Tasha said, Miss Dyer said, you know, the trade whisper said, you know, don't call my name in no way saying I said, because it's all personal preference. So you can jump up and you can trail your stop loss. I personally do mine on a higher time frame. When I trail it, if I'm doing a trailing stop loss, I'll jump up and do it that way because I don't mind cushioning mine a little bit more to give my trade a little breathing room. So when I do it manually, I'll cushion it. Like if I was in this trade, it would literally be right here, cushioned above here if I was doing it manually on my phone. So, but it's all personal preference because you know when you get to a support and resistance line, it's gonna pull back, right? It's gonna pull back right there. It's going to pull back. You're gonna have some pullback right there. And so you do not, but once again, you see, and that's, I mean, you see that pullback there, but do not, I'm saying it again, you heard me read the testimony in the chat. Don't come over here and just take this trade. Don't come over here and say, oh, it said entry, it's right there, I'm just gonna sell. Do not do that. Do not do that. Bring that back over here and mark that up. Do the leg work and mark that up. And when you do that, you see where your take profits are. change that to the line chart, like I just showed you how to do. You make those necessary adjustments that you need to make, so you can like adjust that as needed based on what you see based on a line chart. Look to the left, because that's that closing price. You know, you wouldn't have seen this. So you would have been looking to the left, because this wouldn't have been there, right? You would have really been looking at it like this when you would have drew it. So all of this would have been valid right here. So, and this one, would I really have a take profit way down here? Look at the difference, right? So this is wicks. This is wicks. I'm not keeping my take profit right there. This is why I changed to the line chart. You'd be like, it almost touched my take profit. It missed my take profit. Now, of course, your broker spread have something to do with it. Your broker spread will have something to do with it too. Absolutely, this is recorded. But check this out. Bring this up. You like this where your homework came in handy, right? So you pull that up to the line chart. And when I pull it up to the line chart, I'm not worried about those little dips. And I change back to my Hikanashi candles. And ta-da, it's absolutely no way I'm gonna have a take profit with all that space and opportunity that it had it like it was down there. Why would I have all that space and opportunity for my trade not to make it? Because you ever been in a trade and be like, oh my goodness, it missed it by like a pip or two. That's why, because y'all using wicks and not the actual where it should be. That's why. That's why. Use that. So change it to that line chart. It will change your life, I promise you. So that's the harmonics. We didn't took almost the whole call just talking about that. And I wanted to get to all three of them. I really, really wanted to get to all three of them. So let me see here. Now let's see if we got enough time. I want to get to this. So when you're talking about, I might not be able to pull a bounce back up, but the bounce back, what it does is it talks about trends. It identifies trends. And so, I mean, it's literally imlbounceback.com, or in the same way we went to the products, right? Same way we went to the products, bounce back, and you pull that up, like I said. But what it does is it's going to identify trends. And so these are trend candles. You see how these candles look? These are trend candles. If I change, before I even get there, let me pause for a moment, because I'll keep talking till 10 o'clock. Any questions on, let me make sure, because if we need to do another call on just the bounce back, I will do a part 3. Any questions on this before I even go forward? Questions, comments, testimonies. What, y'all want a part 3? So questions, comments, testimonies. So you want a class just on, and a part 4, what in the world? So y'all are so funny. Question, so I'll pause. I won't even touch that tonight. So I will definitely dedicate the time to it. So, but any questions, comments, testimonies on the harmonics? Let's go there. And then I will definitely dedicate the time. What are you bringing back from the harmonic scatter, the vibrato? Okay. This strategy gave me 700 USD in the 14 hours. Oh, wow. Testimony. Okay, there's a testimony. The strategy gave me $700 in 14 hours. Okay, there's a testimony. And so what am I bringing back? You are using it. So when I pulled up, all those patterns, and everything that I pulled up in the beginning of this call, if you didn't have this tool, now you see, right? We talk about enroll, learn, profit. Learn how to utilize the tools. If you didn't have that tool, you would literally have to scan the market yourself and have to identify these harmonic patterns. You would have to get the geometric patterns and be able to understand how many different harmonic patterns there are. You would literally have to be doing the fibs on them, the Fibonacci's, retracements. You would have to do all of that yourself. So that's what it means about using the tools. Okay, let's use the tools. And so that's what that means. So allow yourself to use the tool, bring it back to the vibrato, because it's not a standalone tool. Okay, even though it scans the market and it finds those patterns for you, right? It finds those patterns for you. So it's great. However, it's not a standalone tool. So you do not want to attempt to trade it by itself without bringing it back over here and marking up your chart and making sure you put the BYOB cash out strategy on top of it. You put the BYOB cash out strategy on top of it so you know when to actually take the trade, right? Then you'll know when to take the trade. That's how you know when to take the trade. That's what that means about bring it back. So the harmonic scanner just finds the pattern for you, then you bring that back over here. And so gives you more confidence. You tried it today. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it, I love it. Now, what does the 4 hour need to look like? So if I'm looking at this, right? If I'm looking at this, then the 4 hour needs to look like when you're waiting on a trade to set up, if you're waiting on a trade to set up, then that means so you will hear people say, oh, there's a watch list. So it'll say it's a watch list. It's a it's a setup coming. That's what the 4 hour needs to look like. That's what it needs to look like. It needs to be like a watch list or a setup. So that's what that needs to look like, right? That's what it needs to look like. All right, does that make sense? I'm trying to read. I got some private messages and some, so sorry for the pause, guys. So, all right. No, you don't put it on top. It's not an overlay. It's not an overlay. It's not an overlay. So you see I got 2 tabs open. It's definitely not an overlay. So I got 2 different tabs open. So don't try, do exactly what I'm doing, right? Do exactly what I'm doing. So just do exactly what I'm doing. Now, so when it's training and trading, is it best to toggle between the tabs on your computer for the vibrato and the harmonics? Absolutely. So training isn't training. This is BYOB Market Talks. So to the evening calls, like right now, is BYOB Market Talks. So this is strictly training. Now, of course, if we see some money on the table, we're not gonna leave it. We're gonna take it off the table. We've been on this call and we caught some trades, right? So, but this is Market Talks. And the morning is trading. However, we don't force a trade. So if we have one in the morning when we have the setups and we do that. So in the morning calls, those are the live trading calls. And we take the trades in the morning. So the morning calls are not recorded because they're just live trading calls. But based on what the market is doing, sometimes we get into education, sometimes, but it's just all about what the market is doing, right? It's all about what the market is doing. So that's what that is. So just to kind of help you understand. So the morning is making money, and this is helping you understand. That's why it's called Market Talks. And this is a web-based platform. So it is usable you can, now it's all about preference once again, but can you access it on your mobile phone? Absolutely. It's a web-based program. So you can definitely capture it on your phone and on your laptop or desktop. So you can definitely do that. So let me see here. I'm trying to make sure that I got that. I got quite a few questions at the same time. I'm just trying to make sure I got them all. All right. So time frame confluence. Okay. Let me answer this question. On an hour doesn't mean the hour have to be green. So does the hour have to be green as long as, so let me just, time frame confluence. So right here. So I'm doing it right here on the hour with this trade here as well. I'm doing it right here on the hour. Okay. So right here, look at it. This is the strategy, right? This is the strategy. Blue line cross, this is where that crossover began. It began back over here. Okay, this is where it began. And now right here is where my PSAR even flip. Actually, you had a flip right here. Actually, you had a flip right here. You actually had one, I didn't mean to move that line. You actually had a flat candle right here. I actually did right here. So you look at it, but what is time frame confluence? Let me change the color of this one so when we flip it over, okay? I changed the color of the wrong thing. All right, so when I look at time frame confluence, I'm gonna drop down to the 15, right? You're gonna drop down. So I'm gonna drop down and it need to be selling. It's selling, right? It need to be selling. When I look at this one, look at my stochastic on that 5 minute. My stochastic on the 15. My stochastic on the 15 actually got a little curve in it, right? It's actually look like it's kind of curving up. So that tells me I got a little correction about to happen. So you'll see sometimes we'll be on the calls and I'll be like, I don't like how that stochastic look, right? When we drop down on the 5. This is a lot, this is very, very significant. And then you jump up to the hour. When I go to the hour, right, the hour is where the trade came from. Now the 4 hour, when I look at the 4 hour on that first candle, we had that first candle, it wasn't ready. Okay, it wasn't ready. Look at my candle is green. I did not have confluence. And so on the next one, now whether I'm on the 15, the hour, the 5, no matter what time frame you're on, the confluence works the same way. So don't get too caught up on what time frame I'm on right now. It works the same way, what I'm explaining. So right here, when you see this 4 hour, you see this 4 hour is now I got this red candle. This one is green. So this one was an absolute no-go to take this trade right now. So this one was, yes, I can get in this trade. But when I go back down to my 15 minute, right? When I go back down to my 15 minute, this ought to confirm it for you. You didn't miss anything. Look at how this pulled back up. So why do you think I didn't have confluence? Now, in this case, it actually did turn around and come back down. Do you know how many times it doesn't come back down? It can keep going up. It can move up. It can go up. It can move up in the air. So it would have stayed in a buy. You know how many times that has happened? So confluence is so important. You have to do your confluence. Your confluence is important. You want to do your confluence. So I cannot stress that enough. So this could have been, because this would, look at, this was in a buy, right? This was in a buy, correction. It was in a buy. And yes, even though we know this was a harmonic pattern, just for the sake of training, for the sake of understanding, right? Something could have happened in the market, anything. whatever. And right, we already had someone in the chat say they've taken it, come back, and it's not there, and the trade didn't play out. So we've already identified that it doesn't matter, right? Because we know it's not standalone. So now when this, let's say this was nothing but a correction, and then this turn around and it would have kept going, and you literally would have been in this, right? And voila, this is where your trade would be going right now, right? This is where you need to be going right now. So this is where it would be going right now. And so you'd be looking for a sale, but you never had Confluence, and then you're like, well, what's going on? I don't understand what's happening. Well, that's because you didn't BYOB cash out it. You didn't BYOB it so we can cash out. You got to BYOB it so you can cash out. That's so very important. You definitely want to do that. And you might want to check your internet provider. Oh, that's private. So y'all like, what is she talking about? So you really, you want to check your internet provider. So, all right. So ladies and gentlemen, this was one of the, this is definitely one of the three, right? This was definitely one of the three that we wanted to discuss. This was definitely one of the three that we wanted to discuss. And so I promise I'm definitely going to, I'm definitely going to do the other part next week. So it has to download first. I promise it's gonna get on YouTube. I promise it's gonna get on YouTube. I promise. The C and D extension